Welcome back. The 29th of September marks the International Day of Awareness on Food Loss and Waste Reduction. The day highlights the critical need to bolster efforts to reduce food loss and waste, contributing to achieving climate goals and advancing the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And for more on this, we're now joined by CEO and founder of South African Harvest, Browde. He joins us now via our video link. Alan, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. Let's begin here. I mean, what constitutes food waste or food loss?
Hi, thanks so much for having me on the show. Well, food loss and food waste, they are slightly different by definition, but at the end of the day, they mean one thing. They mean the waste of good, edible food that could have fed the hungry South Africans, and which goes to landfill instead of being delivered to the people who need it.
Maybe if you can just give us, a tally of annually how much food is actually wasted in the country.
Well, you'll be devastated, and everybody who doesn't know the number will be. It's just over 10 million tons of food goes to waste every year in South Africa. That's about 33% of our production. Now, in a country where you have 20 million people on a spectrum of food vulnerability, ranging from, running out of money every month to buy their family food, right through to millions of children who go to sleep hungry every night, the fact that so much food is wasted is a complete disaster. In fact, at 10 million tons, the way in our industry, we have around about 4 meals per kilogram. You're looking at about the waste of 40 billion meals. And when this could feed, just from waste alone, all the hungry people in South Africa, we have to be shocked.
And Alan, one would ask, what leads to, this resulting in food being disposed or, food being wasted when you are saying that, well, it can reach the necessary people it needs, because we are a country that really does struggle with poverty and inequality?
100%. We have to take more positive action to stop this. Look, some of the food waste in every country, and today they reckon that globally we're wasting over 1.5 billion tons of food a year. Some of that we cannot help, but there's stuff that we can certainly do something about. For example, aesthetic standards, they call it. The retailers won't take a carrot that's slightly bent, or they won't take a bean that has a slightly different color. And we know that in the industry, they call it ugly food. And that wastes a huge amount of food every year. When you take a look at, for example, the dates, this is a system which really is controversial. We have 3 dates, the first 2 dates being sell by and best by. Those are suggestions, and yet people come into supermarkets, they look today, it says this product is best by in a day or 2, and they won't buy it. And often, very often, that food goes to waste, and yet we know that sometimes on yogurts and things like that, we have a date called best by, and we buy it, we have it in the fridge for another 3 weeks. And so that food that would have gone to waste is saved. So there are many factors in the food chain, ranging from agriculture right through to the home, where food is wasted that shouldn't be.
What does the legislation in South Africa say when it comes to donating, the foods that you mentioned, that, in some supermarkets, if it says it's expiring today, they begin a process of removing it from the shelves. And then what becomes then the legislation around why not donate this food to needy communities?
Yeah, I mean, I feel, look, as far as we understand, and we get advice from the top lawyers in the country about this, obviously, because this is our life, distributing food. And many retailers are loath to do it for that reason. As far as we understand, the law is very simple, that the people like us, SA Harvest, who rescue food and deliver it for free, have the same law applied to it as every other food vendor in the country, whether they're retailers or whether they're restaurants or whether they, like us, delivering food for free. And that is that it depends on the process. You've got to abide by the hygienic laws of South Africa, and you've got to have and adhere to the protocols. And so if there's no indemnity, if a retailer gives us food and we give food to a beneficiary and the beneficiary cooks for people who come and eat and for whom they are cooking, and something, God forbid, terrible happens at the end, the authorities will look at the process and see, were our trucks clean? Did the retailer do it according to the hygienic laws? Did the beneficiary keep it clean and not break the cold chain and so on? So there's nothing really to fear. There's nothing to fear as long as the process and the protocols are adhered to. And instead of fearing stuff that they could control, they should be more fearing that they're throwing away so much food that could feed hungry and malnourished children. And I must add that in this country, 27% of our children up to the age of 5 suffer from stunting and from malnutrition and from cognitive impairment, which is often irreversible, while there is a surplus of food. And so much food is going to waste, and we export food. You know, we're a country with food. We're not a country that is like many countries at war and so on, where there's famine. This country has food, and that 27% of our children should be in such a state is an absolute shame and disgrace to us all.
Maybe if you can also give us an insight in terms of, how this actually impacts the economy. What are the knock-on effects on the economy due to food waste?
Well, I mean, as far as the economy is concerned directly, I'm not an economist as such, and I couldn't give you a view on that. But if you take 27% of our children that are not getting the food that is going to waste, and these children are suffering from irreversible cognitive damage, in 20 years this will have a massive effect on our economy. Because this will be a third of our children who won't be able to participate in the economy, won't be able to get jobs. And so the effect on the economy, on the productive ability of our economy as the years go by will be massive.
All right, Mr. Browde, thank you so much for your time. Really a major concern there when it comes, to food issues in the country and, of course, affecting children, the most vulnerable in our community. That's Alan Browde. He is the CEO and founder of SA Harvest.